Welcome, good morning. Thank you for joining us for our December Assessment and Accountability Update. My name is Carlin Laraway. I am the Director of Assessment and Accountability. We have a fairly brief presentation today for you on updates relevant to our assessment system. So we'll get started, but before we do that, if you are not able to hear us, please let us know. If you have questions as we go throughout the day, please type your questions into our questions box. If you have technical issues, put them in the chat box. And once again, our presentation is posted as a document handout. We have a staffing announcement that we wanted to share. Most of you read in our newsletter that Heidi Arate, who's been serving as our Science and IRI Coordinator, will be leaving. Her last day will be Tuesday, December 18th. I will be taking IRI and Science assessment calls or questions until we're able to fill that position. We hope to be able to post that in the next couple of weeks, no later than early into January. And transitioning now to science, I wanted to share the science assessment development timeline. We've had several questions about what folks can expect this year on the assessment. So this year, the science assessment aligned to our previous standards will be administered in grades 5, 7, and the end of course assessments in biology and chemistry will be administered to students in high school. I do want to make sure everyone knows that 9th graders can participate in the high school end of course assessment this year, and it will count towards the participation rate when that is calculated at the conclusion of that student's senior year. We will also have an embedded field test in grade 5 this year. So in our 5th grade assessment for students in taking the science assessment in the window in the spring, they will see one item from our new science assessment. This is just an opportunity to see how students engage with this type of item, what it looks like. We call them clusters. And we want students to interact with that type of an item and give us some feedback. And we'll be sharing more information specifically about what you can expect from those in the next couple of weeks. There are some practice items on the ISAT portal that you can access, so you can take a look at those now. If you have students in 8th grade that would like to participate in a standalone test this year, please contact me by January 1st. If you're interested in participating in this field test. It's just, again, an opportunity for students to see these items for this exposure of this new assessment format. Again, I'll administer through the AIR platform, the similar platform, or the same platform for our ISAT English Language Arts and Math and current science assessments. So nothing additional for districts to set up, just an opportunity to see this in person in advance. In 2020, we will have an operational field test in grades 5, and you'll notice it says 8 and 11 with asterisks. Those are proposed grade level changes for the new science assessment for 2020, and that does require a rule change. So as that rule makes its way through the rulemaking process, we'll keep you apprised of that. Individual scores, my apologies, will not be reported in the 2020 year, but we will use those assessment results to set achievement levels, and we will not report district or school level data in 2020. In 2021, that is the first year of the operational assessment where we will provide individual student score reports as well as school and district reports. So hopefully this helps to clarify what you can expect this year, next year, and a year out from there. If you have any questions, please contact me. I'm happy to walk you through that. If you have any feedback or, again, interest in participating in the 8th grade field test, I would be very eager to talk to you, so please reach out. We'll transition now to Melanie with a college entrance exam update.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm ready for the next slide. We have just a few PSAT and NMSQT dates to share. Scores are released to students this week via their College Board accounts. Students will receive an email from the College Board when their scores are available. We are also able to confirm with the College Board that by December 14th, schools should be receiving one paper score copy per tester And some counselors I have heard from are scheduling score debrief and next step activities with students. So we were hoping the state confirmation helps in scheduling those types of sessions before winter break arrives. And then last for PSAT, January 11th through the mid-January, the PSAT system is open for grade level adjustments to be sent back to the College Board prior to the final PSAT invoice being sent to schools. So that will be important to complete so your invoicing is accurate. Now jumping into some SAT school day general reminders. These are likely a repeat from our last webinar, but worthy to briefly point out again. Bulk registration will be the only way. I'm just going to pause for just a moment, just to make sure there's audio here. We're just pausing for audio check. I apologize.
Can I get a quick raise of hands from everyone if you can hear us? I appreciate your indulgence. We seem to have some technical difficulties. Okay, so we have audio and we're fine.
Okay.
So Melanie, I'm going to let you just continue where you are, and we'll circle back with Tamara, and we'll make sure that she's good.
Great. So just a couple SAT general reminders. I'll just start at the beginning of this slide. These are likely repeat from our last webinar, but worthy to briefly point out again. But bulk registration will be the only way to pre-register juniors for SAT school day. There will still be some paper registration forms sent to accommodate the day of registration needs. The pre-ID file template is the same as it was for PSAT this fall. The only difference is that you will not order materials for SAT off the ordering site. Your pre-ID file for SAT will serve as your test material order. Couple of frequently asked questions we're getting, and these have arrived mainly during some trainings we've done. So I thought I would address a few of them to see if they help address those questions that might be coming up for you guys. So the first is, can seniors who missed the SAT last year take the SAT with juniors this year during school day? And the answer is yes, but just a few points to add and consider. If the senior was from out of state and transferred in their senior year, they are exempt from the college entrance exam requirement. We also ask that school level staff ensure that a student has not taken the SAT on a national day or taken the ACT instead. That does happen from time to time, so it's worth a quick question to the student. And then if none of those things apply, the student can take it and should register as a 12th grader in the bulk upload and take the SAT during the primary test day on April 9th. Another question, can sophomores who plan to graduate early take the SAT with the juniors? And that is also a yes. But please note, the College Board is not set up to accept 10th grade for the pre-ID file upload. The grade will need to be changed by whomever is completing the upload file to 11th grade for these affected students. So that will be a real quality assurance data check before you submit your file. If you have a senior also registering the day of the test via paper, they will need to grid in 11th grade for their grade. So ensure your students understand also that the state only pays for one SAT day administration. There are no retakes paid for then their senior year if they opt to take it early. There are times that students in these situations don't graduate early. So also, again, they can't take it again as a real quote unquote junior. So as long as they're aware of those ramifications as far as when to take the test. The SAT this spring has the optional essay component, as you've likely heard us reference. The essay does require student registration via a student College Board account, or the student can call into the College Board. We recommend starting correspondence around this choice early and before winter break, ideally, as the add-on registration for the essay will begin January 28th and extend through February 4th. A recently recorded webinar explains the steps and processes as to how the students add on the essay. There is also a one-page fact sheet sent about the optional essay. It was emailed last week to SAT test coordinators in the schools. It's a great resource and a supplement to provide students and families about the essay optional choice. Students will need a College Board account to register for the essay, as I mentioned. So if they are interested in adding the essay, I think it's important to ensure that they have a College Board account. This could be something nice to add as a winter break to do for them, or add a little supplement to the resource that we emailed out to you all. It's a pretty easy setup task. And if you need any tips or website links to set up some resources, please let us know. And lastly, just a glimpse again at key dates here. The bulk registration window happens very quickly after we all return back from winter break, to January 7th through January 16th. There is, again, the student essay opt-in window. Accommodation requests are open now. We did want to point that out through February 19th. And then a lot of just pre-test materials and resources will arrive early March. The test coordinator required training window, again, if you're planning ahead for any trainings you're coordinating, is February 26th through April 8th. And the College Board will email the training link. Just quickly, there have been several recently completed webinar trainings hosted by our College Board Idaho implementation team. We have most of them to date posted off of our SCE College Entrance Exam website. It's linked here on this page. They are recorded and transcribed, and they cover the following topics if you're looking for resources. PSAT next steps for educators, PSAT resources for families and students, the optional essay registration logistics, and then a bulk registration overview. And they are brief and to the point, so hopefully they'll be easy to watch. Lastly, today we have an SAT accommodations webinar scheduled for later at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. The registration is linked here. If you're interested in attending, please join in. But also please know that the webinar invite has been shared with those that are reported as SSD coordinators and our special education directors. That's it for college entrance. Thank you.
We do have a few questions.
Okay.
The first question comes from Anita. So we need to pre-identify those 12th graders that need to take the SAT and just upload those students with our junior bulk upload?
Yes, Anita, you can do that. If you already have identified students who need to take the test, it is one of the easier ways to go about that. But they could also register the day of if needed.
Okay. The next question also comes from Anita. Can students register for the essay prior to the district completing the bulk upload in January?
No, they cannot. That is a good question, but they cannot. My suggestion was just to ensure that they have a College Board account first over winter break, but the window is dictated by the College Board operations who has a system set up for this. So they literally have to, from what it sounds like, turn it on and then off again for our students.
And there's a third question from Anita. Anita was just commenting because she figured out what was going on. So thank you, Anita.
Okay.
All right, good morning, everyone. As we've mentioned in previous webinars and correspondence, the vendor decided for the first time to require certification. This means anyone administering or proctoring the AccuPlacer must complete the certification before administering the assessment. Last Friday, on December 6th, I emailed all AccuPlacer proctors. Within the email, I provided guidance and resources for the certification. I also provided additional resources in preparation for the testing window, such as a training for proctors and how to verify testing computers meet the specifications. If you're a new AccuPlacer proctor, I sent a separate email with an explanation on how to set up your account, along with the same certification guidance and resources. If you are a proctor and did not receive any communication from me, please contact me to receive the information. Does your school not have a proctor or need more than one? Contact me via email with pertinent account setup information, which is right here on the screen, which I'll need. And once I receive the account information, I'll create the account and follow up an email on account creation, trainings, and resources. The Assessment and Accountability Department wanted to provide our LEAs a heads up on the important update related to the AccuPlacer for the 2019-2020 school year.
AccuPlacer will no longer be available for K through 12 setting. It will only be available for higher education institutions who continue to use it for college course placement purposes. The SDE is in the process of researching and updating options as related to the college entrance exam requirement. The rule, along with any updates, will go through the rulemaking process in 2019 and will provide further updates as they transpire. I'm going to hand it over to Aika if there's no questions.
Hi everyone, this is Ayaka. Thank you so much for submitting appeals. Thank you so much for submitting appeals. Since we are still processing appeals, if you have found new evidence, please fax it to us at 208-334-2228. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or concerns regarding returned or denied appeals. We are reviewing the appeals as fast as we can and will notify you once the rates are finalized. We are very excited to tell you that the new report card is released next week. The new report card is on a user-friendly interactive web platform that allows you to explore the assessment and accountability data in a way that you have never been able to on our old static report card. If you are excited about and interested in seeing a preview of this web-based tool, please register yourself for one of the upcoming webinars using the link on the screen. I'm going to pass it to Nancy on ISAT update.
Good morning, everyone. As you may know, for our non-machine scored interim assessment items, starting in the fall of 2018, the teacher hand scoring application was integrated into the Airways reporting application. Last year, we offered artificial intelligence scoring for the interim assessment essays in the ELA performance task. But starting January 7th, any new assessments submitted will have all open response items automatically scored. Teachers can review these items to be sure they're in agreement with those scores, and then pay particular attention to a yellow alert icon that indicates a low confidence level that teachers should absolutely review those particular items. This is a screenshot from Airways, the Airways Reporting Quick Guide, and this is what it will look like. This is on page 11 of that guidance document. It shows the pencil icon next to the item, indicating that an open response item was scored, and it also shows you for certain students and their responses the yellow alert indicating that low confidence level for AI scoring, artificial intelligence scoring. Materials related to interim assessment scoring, answer keys, exemplars for any open response and essay items can be found now in both Airways and Tide. I have screenshots here that show you the top is Airways and the bottom is Tide, where those documents are located. In addition, these are the most pertinent resources to use with your teachers that will go into greater detail about the review and scoring process. Feel free to give me a call if you have additional questions or would like me to walk you through this process. And have a wonderful holiday.
This is Carlin, and I'm filling in for Karen. So we just have a couple of quick updates on the Idaho Alternate Assessment Science Portfolio Reminder. January 7th, when we return from the holiday break, teachers can begin uploading student artifacts to the IPASS application. We are excited to release this and let you know that that's now available to make sure you're adding students and teachers. The Science Portfolio Manual is also available on the Idaho Training Clearinghouse Alternate Assessment site, as well as our State Department of Education website. Don't forget, in application, teachers, test coordinators should be uploading teachers and students and assigning those students to their respective teacher to complete that portfolio. If this is not done when teachers log in January, they will not be able to upload artifacts. So this is a great activity to ensure you complete before the holiday break. If you have any questions, please contact Karen with those, as she'll be able to direct you in very quick time. And now back to Melanie.
All right. So hi again, everyone. A few upcoming dates for access testing here. The first that occurs right after winter break is the opening of test setup in WIDA AMS. This will start on January 2nd and be available through the entire test window. District will receive test materials on January 15th, and access training and certification ideally is completed by January 28th, as this is the start of the test window. We realize you may have needs that occur later, so that certification is open year-round. You can see the test window again from January 28th through March 8th. And as a reminder, when setting up your test scheduling, if you're involved in that, we do recommend using the last week of this window as a makeup week, catching students who have incomplete domains or who have been absent. The additional test materials ordering, I'm sorry, this is a little off with the calendar here, but is January 15th through March 1st. So I will speak about additional material orders here in greater detail in just a few slides. Related to certification, and a brief reminder again about this year's requirements. Access 2.0 certification is required for the 2019 year. Even if you were new last year and certified last year, you should plan on recertifying to keep up with the certification cycle. As most people will note too, this particular assessment, it's great to have that refresh back-to-back often because of the detailed nature of this assessment. The training modules are within the WIDA Secure portal, which requires an account to get in. If you have any staff who need secure portal accounts or WIDA AMS accounts, then we do recommend having both for training. Please email our vendors at the emails listed here to request access. They are very fast to get accounts back and set up for you. And then here's the materials note that I referenced. So regarding additional test materials for access, schools and districts do receive an overage of materials, and it's important to inventory your initial delivery. If you have had additional students identified since the pre-ID file upload and materials order that we just completed recently, you may need to order a few more paper supplies. WIDA, their terminology and expectations is that this should happen at a district level. It helps track things at a district sort of level, especially if you manage more, multiple schools, and prevents excess ordering per school. Additional materials ordering will begin on January 15th. So that again is quickly after we arrive back from break. We do advise completing this right away if you have some needs to allow for processing and shipping time, which can take up to 10 days. The ordering itself occurs within WIDA AMS, as seen here. Also briefly, but really important, we did not want to leave out the technology readiness reminders about access testing. We get a few questions about whether this is a cloud-based assessment, and it's a good reminder for us to share that it is not. It does require some technology downloads to function. We refer you to this 3-minute video that Danielle, my colleague, and I made for tips on where to find readiness checklists for devices, as well as any required updates per device and operating system. Headset specifications are also on this checklist as well. And WIDA emphasizes that in particular because of the detailed nature of the speaking domain. It's really critical to ensure that headsets are in good working order. Again, the video here will also demo where to download the test system manager called DRC Insight Browser. And I promise it is only a 3-minute video. It's been shared with access coordinators as well as technology coordinators as well. Last, I wanted to share a new tip sharing idea that I'm excited to implement this year, and I'm borrowing from other access testing states that stay in a lot of frequent contact with their access coordinators, specifically throughout the open window. So we've developed a small, brief bullet list template to send out key tips during the open window and a list of quick finds, as I'll call them, and resources for easy access and use. So we will try to capture some tips relevant to the stage of the testing window we are in, and some best practice testing ideas from other WIDA member states. Look for the joint WIDA and SDE logo sent from me, Melanie, for these tips during the test window. I hope they're helpful and not a nuisance by any means. So that's it for WIDA Access, and thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a deadline for testing late enrolled students?
Right. So it will be, the business rule for that is the first Friday in March. So if a student is identified, so screened and then identified as an L, the expectation is that they would take access.
And that would be any student who enrolls up to what date to participate?
I believe it's March 1st. Let me verify with a calendar briefly here.
And this is Carlin. From an accountability perspective, let me further clarify. As Melanie stressed in her response, the student must be enrolled and also identified. So they have to have been screened and identified as an eligible English learner on or before Friday, March 1st, the first Friday in March. So if the student enrolls on that date but has not gone through and completed the identification process, you would not be expected to assess them, as you should not assess a student, and I'm looking at Melanie for verification, you should not assess a student that you think is an L until they have actually been identified as an English learner.
And as also a brief reminder, you do have the 30 days to administer the screener piece for the identification of the student as an L.
Any other questions before we move on? Okay. Our next webinar will be at 10 a.m. Wednesday, January 9th, just as you're all returning back from a lovely holiday break. Please find links to register and review past webinars in our Assessment and Accountabilities Resource Center. And you can also register for all upcoming webinars through the end of the school year. I will give you a brief minute to pause if you have any other final questions, and we'll stay on just for another minute or two in the event that you do. I also want to remind you all that we have the dates for our assessment roadshow in January and February that have been published in our newsletter. The next newsletter in January, or in December rather, next week, that we send out will include the registration links so that you can conduct registration within your districts. We invite you to bring a team. We'll be covering topics such as ISAT administration, WIDA, as well as college entrance exam, updates on accountability, IRI, and also science assessment in the future development plans that we have for that. All right, we have no other questions. So from our team to the rest of you, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful Happy New Year. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Merry Christmas, everyone.